Golden Iris Productions presents Missionary Family Adventures, Beneath the Volcano, from the book by Mark F. Dennis. Introduction. This is the story of an American missionary family and their remarkable journey to Japan. It is a story of faith, family, adventure, and growing up between two cultures. It is the story of how an ordinary family from America found themselves living beneath one of the most active volcanoes in the world. The events you are about to hear are not fiction. They are real memories from a childhood spent in the mountains of Japan. They are stories of ocean voyages, mountain trails, train rides, cultural discoveries, and the experiences that shaped an entire family. To understand how we came to live in such an extraordinary place, we begin not in America, but beneath the shadow of a volcano in the Japanese Alps.
Historical disclaimer. This series faithfully presents the writings and memories of missionary Dick Dennis. His observations about religion, culture, and society reflect his sincerely held evangelical Christian beliefs during the 1960s. They are presented in their historical context to preserve the authenticity of his family's story and are not intended as commentary on the beliefs of others today. Parts 15-16. Dorm Life. Leaving home for boarding school was a major adjustment for Kathy, Mark, and Nathan. Everything was new: the hostel, the school, and living away from their parents. Although the dorm parents were kind and caring, the boys quickly discovered that life among 30 missionary kids could be both exciting and challenging. The older boys believed the younger ones had to learn to be tough. Teasing, practical jokes, and roughhousing were simply part of hostel life. No one wanted to be seen crying because everyone was learning to become independent. The girls were much gentler than the boys. They spent their free time talking, making gum wrapper chains, and playing card and board games. Occasionally, they joined the boys for games outside, but they were usually content enjoying each other's company indoors. Evening routine. Evenings followed a familiar routine. After chores and dinner, everyone gathered to relax for a little while before study hall. Living with 30 missionary kids sometimes felt more like one enormous family than a boarding school. Watching Japanese television became one of everyone's favorite pastimes. Shows like Kamen Rider, colorful cartoons, and Sesame Street helped the children learn the language while giving them something fun to enjoy after a busy school day. After study hall, the dorm parents gathered everyone together for singing, Bible reading, prayer, and discussion. It was a special time that reminded the children they were all part of one Christian family, even though they were far from home. The Winter Olympics. In February 1972, the Winter Olympics came to Sapporo, Japan. Every evening, the hostel children crowded around the television to watch the competitions, collecting Olympic bottle caps and cheering for their favorite athletes from around the world. The Asama Sanso Incident. That same winter, television brought dramatic news from Karuizawa. Left-wing radicals had taken a hostage in a mountain lodge not far from the Dennis family's home. The children watched as hundreds of police surrounded the building during one of Japan's most famous televised standoffs. The secret hiding place. Every bedroom had a small storage compartment above the closet that was perfect for hiding during games of hide-and-seek. Mark loved squeezing into the tiny space until the other boys discovered his secret. That was when he decided to make an even better hiding place. Using a saw and a few hinges, Mark built a hidden trap door into the ceiling of the closet. From below, no one could tell it existed, but it opened into the forbidden attic above the dormitory. It quickly became the perfect secret hideout. Before long, the attic became a favorite gathering place for the older boys.
They quietly crawled above the ceilings, sometimes sneaking over to the girls' side just to listen to conversations. Looking back, they knew it wasn't the smartest or the wisest thing to do.
Curiosity gets the better of Mark. Mark's curiosity often got him into trouble. After reading about fermentation in the encyclopedia, he decided to make homemade wine in the attic, using grape juice, sugar, and bread yeast. It sounded like a great science experiment, until it wasn't. Late one night, a loud explosion echoed through the hostel. The glass jar had burst under pressure, scattering sticky grape juice across the attic. Mark quietly cleaned up the mess the next day, but the smell lingered for quite a while.
The Bamboo Forest. Behind TEAM Hostel was a peaceful bamboo forest that became one of the children's favorite places to explore. Cool even on the hottest summer days, its winding trails led to nearby farms and hidden paths that seemed to disappear into the countryside. At the bottom of the hill were deep caves carved into the hillside. Farmers had used them for generations to store vegetables in the naturally cool ground, and during the war they had also served as bomb shelters. To the children, they were fascinating places to explore. Along one of the forest paths stood a small shrine dedicated to Inari, the fox deity of Japanese tradition. The younger children often found the shrine mysterious, while the older boys sometimes told ghost stories that made it seem even more frightening. Looking back, Mark realized that showing respect for another culture's beliefs was far more important than trying to frighten others.
Part 16.
New dorm parents. After only 1 year, Uncle Lyle and Aunt Alice moved on, and new dorm parents arrived. They knew the hostel boys had a reputation for being difficult, but they made it clear from the very first evening that they planned to stay and provide the steady leadership the children needed. As the years passed, the Dennis children grew more independent. Mark's curiosity shifted from exploring the woods to repairing radios, televisions, and motorcycles. Without realizing it, those hobbies were preparing him for skills he would use throughout the rest of his life. A love for electronics. Mark became fascinated with electronics. Japan's growing economy meant people often threw away radios that only needed simple repairs. He began rescuing broken radios from junk piles, fixing them, and soon many of the boys in the hostel had one of his repaired radios. Before long, Mark graduated from radios to color televisions. Many sets only needed a simple adjustment to work again. Hidden away in the boys' closets, these rescue televisions became a favorite way to watch late-night programs after lights out.
Motorcycles. Motorcycles soon became the next adventure. Many of the older boys bought inexpensive bikes from junkyards and repaired them. They hid them in the woods near the hostel and rode the trails at night after quietly slipping out the fire escape. The wooded hills around the hostel became an off-road playground. The boys built trails and jumps through the forest, occasionally crashing into trees or scraping their knuckles. It was all part of growing up and learning by experience.
Life at CAJ, the Christian Academy in Japan, was a busy campus with classrooms, dormitories, athletic fields, and a growing student body. During these years, a large new auditorium was being built, becoming one of the school's most impressive landmarks. Students walked past the cafeteria, gymnasium, and outdoor athletic fields every day. Baseball, football, tennis, and playground games filled the campus with activity, while trains passed just beyond the edge of the school every few minutes.
Basketball at CAJ. Basketball was one of the biggest sports at CAJ. The school regularly competed against American military-based schools and other international schools throughout Japan.
Packed gyms and exciting games made basketball season one of the highlights of every school year. CAJ's basketball teams often advanced to the Far East tournament, competing against schools from Japan, Korea, Okinawa, and the Philippines. One memorable year, they even faced the U.S. high school champions from Honolulu, losing by only a single point in overtime after a thrilling game. Wrestling was another proud tradition at CAJ. As Mark entered high school, he joined the wrestling team and traveled to competitions throughout Japan. The discipline, hard work, and determination he learned on the wrestling mat would stay with him for the rest of his life.
To be continued.
I would like to introduce another source that has helped preserve the story of our family's missionary years. Memoirs of a Missionary, Bringing True Light to the Land of the Rising Sun, tells the story of my father, Dick Dennis, and his decades of missionary service in Japan. Drawing from his journals, prayer letters, and personal memories, the book records the challenges, victories, and everyday experiences of sharing the gospel while living among the Japanese people. Many of the events presented throughout this series are drawn from these first-hand accounts. If you would like to explore the story in greater detail, simply scan the QR code or visit the book on Amazon.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this presentation, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video with others. For more content, visit my 2 YouTube channels. Mark F. Dennis at Golden Iris Knowledge Quest, where we explore physics, cosmology, science, and emerging ideas about the structure of the universe. And Mark F. Dennis at Golden Iris Religion Quest, where we examine religion, spirituality, biblical studies, Jewish mysticism, and the history of religious thought. Your support helps these channels continue to grow and allows me to create more presentations, books, and educational content. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.